And welcome back. No matter what your daily news source may be, there's been an alarming increase in the number of stories reporting crimes involving teenagers. As reported on WTOP radio, over the past several months, Montgomery County has seen a number of arrests for violent crime involving teens. Earlier this month, a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old were charged with murder of a 21-year-old man in the county. And earlier this week, police announced the arrest of a 17-year-old in the fatal stabbing of Jalen Jones. And both these guys were classmates at Northwest High School. So, Mike, county officials have announced that they're holding a meeting next week to address these issues. Is the county executive and the council serious about these issues, or is this just, to let pressure off them because of the headlines?
Well, I mean, I think if any time that the only answer you've got is a meeting, you're not relieving any pressure. You're saying you're starting to at least understand the issue, and I don't think that anybody is surprised. I mean, we've had conversations. I know in the county council, in the budget that the county council has just approved yesterday, that there's more money in for counseling and social well-being in schools. There's a real challenge, I think, that we're seeing everywhere, that there are emotional issues and social well-being issues amongst, mental health issues with our students and with our youth. And we've got to figure out how to get a handle on that. And it's coming out and it's manifesting itself in crimes and in violent crimes. And I think police are certainly a part of the solution, but I don't believe that they are the solution. We've got to look at some more of the root causes, and I think that's a much harder thing to address because it's going to cost resources, and you've actually got to be able to connect with all those students.
Well, I get all the resource needs at the school level, but the fact is, as a county, we're having difficulty retaining and attracting police officers to serve our communities. So there are messages going out that Montgomery County is soft on crime. At least it looks like to me. I'm not sure if everyone has that perception, but it sure looks that way to me.
Well, I guess I would query that a little bit, because I don't think I haven't seen any indication that people are soft on crime. I think we're seeing an increase in crime. And so the challenge is, what's the cause and how do we begin to address it? And I think it is twofold. I think we recognize that we have to figure out how to get police officers with the tools and resources that they need, while at the same time understanding the mental health and emotional challenges that our students and children are facing as a result of spending 2.5 years in the pandemic.
Okay, well, Laurie, I want to go to you now because in the article that I sent out to everyone, County Council member Craig Rice was quoted as saying, "We need to throw everything at the wall on this one." Will that include reversing some of the anti-police measures enacted by the council during the past 2 years? Or will there be even a recognition that they're partially to blame?
Yes, it's interesting that he said that. I think Craig Rice, he's a politician and he kind of moves wherever the wind blows. And he used to be in favor of school resource officers, and then he changed his tune when the whole defund the police movement came in. Now he's going back the other direction. So I feel that when you look at, and also Mark Elrich, he made a comment that there's an ungluing of things. And I think they need to face the fact that some of their own policies have really led to some of these problems. For example, because they kept kids at home during the pandemic, we see a huge learning loss in our schools. Even in our finest schools, we're seeing way low proficiency rates. We're also seeing that we're not working, our county doesn't work with ICE officials. So when we have people who are committing serious crimes who are here illegally, they're not working with ICE to get them deported. We also see that a number of regulations are being added, and they're making government bigger and adding more groups to check up on businesses, and doing that makes things harder on parents who are business owners, who make it harder for them to be parents to their kids because they're so busy working with all these things that are required of them by our county. So these things are all leading to mental health issues and all this. A lot of it could have been avoided if we had let our kids be in school and if we had just let ICE do their job.
Well, I don't think from an ICE perspective. I mean, sadly, most of the violent crime that we've seen has had nothing to do with immigration. Have been local residents who have had challenges trying to cope with the situation that they're dealing with, which doesn't justify the situation by a stretch of the imagination. But to think that somehow ICE was going to save the lives of the two students that were up here Northwest in Germantown would not have done anything. The reality is clearly those students had mental health challenges that need to be addressed, and we haven't had the resources to help them get those addressed.
We're seeing that MS-13 is having clashes with local gangs, and a lot of our kids coming in to MS-13 are coming from out of the country. So I think it does have something to do with the increase in crimes that we're seeing.
It may, but I think that becomes a much too simple solution to say that somehow that's going to solve the problem when we're seeing violent crime pervasively throughout the county.
Well, I mean, we're seeing crimes at all different levels. Right. Car thefts, break-ins, violence. We're seeing, unfortunately, a rise in crime at all levels. And for a county and a community that's always prided itself on its safe environment and good policing, it's coming as a shock.